Hello, OPS.
Hello again.
Hope you're all doing well and just being aware, noticing where you're maybe getting triggered and where you're getting frustrated and seeing it in others and pausing to take care of yourself foremost so that you can build connection with others.
We're just going to walk through a review of what we did. So we opened by asking, who am I without the job that I do? Thank you for your shares.
Yeah, that was a beautiful way of getting to know you all. Hello. And then we just had a quick run through. What are we going to get up to today? We gave you the definition. Dale wrote it on the board there of what conscious leadership is to us. Conscious non-harming leadership. What is that? We'll share these slides with you.
So it really is our mission to practice and share conscious non-harming approaches to normal challenges that we will express or experience in our days. And so really our hope, our ache is to help prevent and reduce and recover from harm that is natural when you bring folks together in any environment.
And some of that harm can be decades old, right? And so recovering from that is possible as well, if necessary. We know we were going to give you some tool sets, but more importantly, the skills to use them and the mindsets to choose to use them. We looked at conscious versus unconscious leadership. What do we realize?
That sometimes we are going to do things consciously where we're aware of how we're showing up at the impact we have on others. And sometimes we won't be aware. And so just to notice that all of those, both sides exist within us. And so how do we create a way of being then that when we notice we're exhibiting behaviors that are unconscious or unintended, that once we notice those, once we become conscious, how do we shift?
And I'll throw that word harming back in there as well, right? Because sometimes we're conscious, we're aware that we're expressing from a harmful leadership way. We choose hierarchy, and we yell and we coerce in ways that we know we're using that power, and it's creating an impact that we actually don't want for people, but maybe it gets the job done or whatever it is. So it's that level of consciousness with respect to harm as well.
And also sometimes it's required. It's part of the job, right? Is where we make demands. And so again, we just know that this is where the recover part comes from. Sometimes it actually doesn't sit well with people. And so we just have a way of being genuine and repairing then so that we can move forward in beautiful ways.
We looked at the path, expectations minus reality, right? And if we go into things thinking, oh, everything should work out perfectly and, all people should get along well and the work should just flow, we're actually setting ourselves up for disappointment and stress. Because often this is what it looks like. There's all sorts of things. There's personality conflicts. There's overload conflicts. There's competing priorities and viewpoints and things. That is the path, right? Doesn't matter if it's a marriage or a business or a police force or one unit within, right? This is the way. And so thinking that everything's going to be roses and it would never be harmful or damaging or hurtful just isn't the way. So we want to give you a way that you can be with those things when reality happens, because
expectations minus reality equals stress. And so, we just share this here to see that it's subconsciously we must believe that everything should just go so, like on the left-hand side here. You just point A to point B, no problem. When in reality, as you know, it is much more convoluted than that.
It's a little squirrely.
Yeah, and so we just get to look at them. What is the way? What's the healthy way when that's our reality? And so that's why we were saying we just set this idea of like, what if we were focused on team health? The same way we help our clients out, right? Because really the work that you're doing helps your clients in their health in their own way, right? So we looked at what are the 3 things that we would need to pay attention to for any living organism.
And here, what does it mean to be a healthy organization, like you're saying, right? Both within your unit and your stakeholders.
What we look at in general is just that there are 3 areas that we can focus on to either reduce harm, right? So that means when we're reducing harm, we're getting back to health. When you think of your own body, it's the same way. The 3 areas then that we would look at to reduce or prevent or recover from dishealth, right? Is this we would stop the poisons, the toxins. And so we looked at ways of thinking, feeling, and acting and relating that do not support health. And then we look at next, how do we cleanse and detoxify? That means anything that is getting in the way, right? Anything that's keeping us stuck on that path. We look at then how do we actually really, really work through that.
Dissolve some of that.
Yes, dissolve what might be showing up.
And then, of course, we want to revitalize, regenerate. This is why we were bringing some of these tools, some of these ways and practices, so that you had something to apply to be regenerative, right? So that when harm happens, or when there is still harm within me or between us, I have a way now that I can practice and create shifts in that.
And we defined harm too as looking at harm being so anything that creates toxins or challenges, miscommunication, misunderstanding, mistakes, misinterpretations, physical things when I'm not feeling well and I'm coming to work and so I'm not fully present. All of these things are what, if they're not actually dealt with, then then we end up doing harm to each other or to ourselves even, right? So we wanted you to look at the L's of conscious communication to ask ourselves, if we are in challenge, what lens are we looking through? And we said through hurt or through heart, just as a quick way to have access to that. And we look at the L's, listen, love, and all the ones that you see here, that we could just refine any one of those to have an impact on the lens that we're looking through.
And it's our awareness as well, just having these, and you went through some of the scenarios that we've given you on these ones that are highlighted in red here, and we chose, different ones to practice on, but all of them is asking ourselves, okay, how am I being in this L, and how is it impacting the lens, the viewpoint I have on the world? Because that creates our thoughts, emotions, choices, actions, and results. And it's the results that we notice, right? And we don't like the results. And often what we don't recognize is that we're just acting out of those emotions, and those emotions are coming from the thoughts. So that is the opportunity to do the root work. Remember, healthy roots, healthy fruits. Beautiful Gabor sharing his wisdom about acceptance versus authenticity, and how we will give up on that authenticity, or we have since very, very, very young, in order to survive, because we relied on the acceptance of those who were closest to us, i.e. our parents, and then onward into school and friendships and marriage and work situations where we're looking for acceptance. We want belonging, right? And so we start to get to a point where, who is the real me? And that awareness starts to come from paying attention to what's going on inside of me when I'm in different situations. Oops, sorry. Sorry, what's going on here?
I think I need to go back one more, I think. Yeah. And so we were just looking at, what if we build our capacity as individuals and as a team to notice that when something does happen, when there's an event, it'll lead to a feeling. And our emotions tell us what is really needed right now. Where do we need to focus? And we wanted to look at, just like what we would share with you, is that then we have a choice in the way that we react, the way that we respond. And you had named that as well. When we continue on with you, if we do, you'll start to see ways of understanding our current ways of reacting when we are challenged, in particular environments, why we show up that way, and what our conditioned response is. And just to know that it's a protective response, we do it for good reason. We just like to go the other way to see, now that I understand that, what is the way that I could communicate what's going on for me? Or communicate what might be going on for the team, or why as a team we're bringing this to a client in a way that allows people to become more connected versus disconnected.
And if the status quo isn't working for us, collectively or individually in our lives, in any area of our lives, then we're not just trying to change the outcomes, right? We have to go back to that level of thinking that created it. And then at that point of choice, use that wisdom of the WTF moment to move towards something new, something different. And that, for the most part, was the summary of what we did. And then we dove into your beautiful shares, engagement, connection, and questions. And we really, really appreciate that kind of energy in a process with people, because it just allows you to bring what's real for you, and then for us together to be able to apply the tips and tricks that we're bringing to something that can just help you further along.
We're looking forward to connecting with you. And so if you've got any questions, please do reach out. Thank you kindly for your time and energy and exploration with us.
Yeah,
Be very well.
Yeah, we have some great things that we want to share with you. And I know there are some of you that have reached out to understand what those are, so we will share.
Thank you.